After a home game-like atmosphere led to a win on the road in Las Vegas, the Steelers head back to the North Shore for another prime-time matchup. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams are set to reunite as the Jets head to Acrisure Stadium for a crucial AFC matchup. We have all the latest on this game coming up as you are watching Steelers Kickoff live right here on KDKA TV.
Welcome to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Steelers Sunday on a beautiful day for football. Here's a live look at Acrisure Stadium, site of tonight's primetime matchup with the New York Jets as we break down the storylines and the matchups here on KDKA. And welcome inside our Gateway Center studios for another edition of Steelers Kickoff. Bob Pompeani, Rich Walsh, Gerry Dulac join us in moments. And as always, I'm flanked by the quarterback of the program, Mr. Charlie Batch here. Big day on tap, and the Steelers right now sit at 4-2 after their easiest win of the season last week in Las Vegas. The Raiders, to say the least, are not an elite team, but that was the type of game that the Steelers needed to get back on track. How important was that game for them?
It was, because they were at a pivotal point of the season at that particular point. You could either be 3-3, get to 4-2, go on the road. You know, a bunch of Steeler fans were going to be there, and you had to figure out a way to get it done, and they were able to do that.
They did. It was close at the beginning, but they stretched out after that and won 32-13. Well, the Steelers' worst-kept secret in town comes to fruition tonight as the Steelers set on a quarterback change this evening against the Jets after 6 weeks of a 4-2 Justin Fields. Russell Wilson took first-team reps all week, and even though Mike Tomlin was keeping the decision, quote, in-house on Friday, it was never in doubt that Russell Wilson would be getting the start for the Steelers this week. And there is also no doubt that Wilson carries a Hall of Fame resume heading into this tenure as Steelers starter. He's accounted for over 43,000 passing yards in his career. That's 25% miles through the air, if you want to look at it that way. Wilson also 13th all-time in passing touchdowns, has 30 fourth-quarter comebacks, which is in the top 10 all-time. And this is a big number here, only 106 career interceptions, also 12th all-time. So, Charlie, what's your take on this switch from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson, specifically now at this time?
Yeah, the timing of it only happens because Russell Wilson is 100% healthy at this particular point, so it made the decision a lot easier. And I understand the people's frustrations, a lot of criticism around the country as it relates to this move. But when you peel back the layers just a little bit, yes, they are 9th in rushing, but they are 28th in passing. That is something after 6 weeks that is alarming. That's why Mike Tomlin is making the decision to go with Russell Wilson at this particular point, because he knows what he brings to the passing game.
That's right. A lot of rushing touchdowns, especially by the quarterback, not much in the passing game. And for more details on the quarterback change and other Steeler notes, we head over to Rich Walsh, who's standing by with Post-Gazette Steelers insider Gerry Dulac. Gentlemen.
All right, before we get into the who's going to start, Fields, Wilson, who should start, let's go to the Hyundai by the numbers here and look at these numbers, Jerry. Through 6 games with Justin Fields at quarterback, the Steelers had the second highest point differential in the AFC. With that being said, were you surprised that Mike Tomlin is planning to switch to Russell Wilson at quarterback right now?
Well, Rich, I'm surprised that he made the move now. I'm not surprised he's making the move. You know, they spent months of the offseason determining what they needed to do to start advancing into the postseason, win a playoff game, and maybe become a Super Bowl contender. And their plan after all those meetings was to bring in Russell Wilson. So they weren't just going to continue to let him sit. Eventually, they were going to put him in as soon as he was healthy, and now is the time. That being said, I'm surprised they did it coming off a 32-point win in Las Vegas.
Yeah, me too. All right, Jerry, another concern with replacing Fields is Wilson is the current state of that offensive line. They're banged up at times. Fields seemed to be running for his life back there. Do you think Wilson is mobile enough to withstand that?
Well, Rich, a young Russell Wilson was more than mobile, and he is still a mobile guy. He is not as mobile, of course, as Justin Fields. But I will tell you, one, the Steeler coaches are not concerned about that. And two, the other thing is, I think Russell Wilson has a better feel for where the pressure is coming. He has a better feel for how to check out of plays. He has a better feel for audibling into another play than Justin Fields does. So that's the advantage he would have with this offense.
Wilson obviously has a better feel for throwing touchdowns, too. He had 26 passing touchdowns last year, which is more than the Steelers had in 2022 and 23 combined. They only had 25.
Yeah, that's interesting. Plus, in the red zone, he's been very good. Last year, 20 touchdowns, 1 pick. Thank you, gentlemen. Now it's time for our weekly quarterback analysis brought to you by Cleveland Brothers. And Charlie, nearly half of the Steelers touchdowns have been rushing touchdowns by Justin Fields. Do you think Wilson brings enough of a passing threat to offset that?
I think so, and I think when you look back just in that red zone, that's going to be something that they really have to score more touchdowns. You have to give a lot of credit to Justin Fields. He uses his legs, getting the team in the end zone. He's done his job at this particular point. But can Russell do that? I think so. And when you just mentioned those 20 touchdowns in the red zone, these are something that Russell Wilson brings to the equation.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, and he has been terrific in that department last year in Denver with a team that wasn't going anywhere as well. Another dynamic in this situation is the long-term plan at quarterback. If Wilson plays well and holds on to this job, I guess everything's okay, but if not, how long of a leash do you think Russell Wilson has?
I think he has a minimum of at least 6 games, and I say that only because you gave Justin Fields that same opportunity. Look, both quarterbacks understand what's at stake here. They're both on one-year contracts. They understand there's a pot at the end of the rainbow right now. Somebody's going to get paid, somebody may not. So both of these guys are competing against one another, but also it's helping this team move forward.
All right, we're just getting started here on Steelers Kickoff. When we come back, Rich is going to talk to the model of consistency along the offensive line all season long. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
Several Steeler players were busy in the community this week. Larry Ogunjobi partnered with Nike for a kids STEM event at Ross Park Mall on Tuesday. Ogunjobi helped demonstrate how different materials affect responsiveness in shoes and the science behind their design. Kids got to experiment with different shoe types and then put those shoes on to test in competitions like Capture the Flag. Good job by Ogunjobi. And then the Steelers rookie class paid a visit to Children's Hospital that same day, visiting the kids to paint pictures, create arts, crafts, projects, and just hang out at the atrium. This continues a team tradition of having the new players focus on community service, and guys like Peyton Wilson are very happy to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's super rewarding. You know, we truly enjoy these things. I was just talking to Mason. It's like getting us out of the everyday grind. It kind of just takes our minds off of things as well as giving back. It's super amazing. I mean, we're just super honored and happy to be here.
Good job by the rookies. And, you know, there have been several changes along the Steelers offensive line this season, but one static piece has been the quiet but steady play of Dan Moore Jr. Rich Walsh got a chance to catch up with the most consistent piece of the lineman puzzle earlier this week. Rich?
Yeah, Bob, consistent is definitely a good word. Tonight will be Dan Moore's 56 starts since his rookie year. Only Naji Harris has more on offense. He's had his ups and downs, but Mike Tomlin has stuck with him, and now it's been mostly ups, and that's why he's still the Steelers' starting left tackle. I had a chance to go one-on-one with Moore after practice this week. You were the only rookie to start at left tackle here. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, man, I hadn't really thought about that, honestly. I mean, it's obviously it's a huge accomplishment. Sometimes it's almost like surreal in a sense. I know going through that my rookie year was kind of just being so on a high. You kind of just feel like you're floating almost, like it's a dream.
But also, you're kind of an Iron Man here. I mean, you started 55 games since your rookie year. I don't think only Naji has started more games on offense.
Yeah, I think Naji's the only person. So, I mean, that's just a testament to just me staying healthy and the Steelers having faith in me, man, you know, to continue going out there and continue getting better, even when things weren't perfect.
What does that mean to you that Tomlin and this organization had faith in you?
Yeah.
You know, some teams don't do that.
Yeah, a lot of teams don't do that. But I think it was just the relationship that me and him had. I think it was just how he saw me work and how he saw me progress on a day-to-day. I think he saw my mental maturity, and I think he knew that as time went on and as reps went on that, you know, I would continue to get better. Left tackle's a hard position, man, and even the best left tackles in this league get beat. So it was just about establishing confidence, and he understood that, and he understood that leaving me out there was kind of the best thing for me, and it ended up paying off.
All right, thanks to Dan for that interview. I'm joined now again by our Steelers insider, Gerry Dulac. Dan Moore has withstood many slings and arrows over his 4 years in the league, and he's still standing, right? And what's your opinion on Moore as a player and as a person? This guy's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude, you know, Rich, and we've seen offensive linemen over the years. They are, all of those guys are always good dudes, it seems, for the most part. But I will say this about Dan Moore. He has started every game since day one. And he is going to become a very rich man in free agency because the Steelers are probably not, you can pretty much bet that they're not going to re-sign him because after drafting Troy Fautanu and Broderick Jones. So he goes out as a left tackle who started every game since day one as a rookie. He's going to get a big contract in free agency, and that'll be really good for Dan Moore.
No question about it, but Moore did tell me he'd like to stay here in Pittsburgh. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
I don't either,
Yeah.
Rich, because that's why they brought those other two guys in, and they're not going to pay three of them. So.
Yeah, no question about that. By the way, Moore has only accounted for one penalty this season, a holding call back in Week 2 in Denver.
That's impressive. Very good job for a guy who wasn't a first-round pick. Thank you, gentlemen. Charlie, Dan Moore has been one consistent person at that position. The Steelers have played, when you think about it, 5 different offensive line combinations. So how difficult is it for a team to gel that way when you have so many moving parts on the O-line?
It's difficult only because you're 6 weeks into the season and you have 5 different starting combinations. So that offensive front is going to have to gel and solidify up there if you want to make a consistent run, especially in the running game and obviously in pass protection. This is some things that I'm going to look forward to as I'm watching it. They just cannot afford any more injuries on that offensive line.
Seems to be all over the NFL, too. I was looking, New England today has 7 different line combinations in 7 games. Coming up next on Steelers Kickoff, Rich is back with a preview of Aaron Rodgers and the new acquisition, Davante Adams of the Jets. It's next.
Sunday Night Football.
You like the block letters, you like the gray face mask. This is your game.
The gray face mask this week, man. We going block number jerseys.
This is Pittsburgh. It's prime time. This is, oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life with the long arm of the law.
What is it about the home magic? How sweet it is, baby!
That's right. The Steelers are turning back the clock for the game against the Jets with their retro uniforms, including block numbers, iconic gray face masks, all in celebration of the 50th anniversary of Super Bowl #9. The first of 4 titles for the team of the 70s officially made them a dynasty in the NFL. A big alumni dinner last night. Many will be wearing this commemorative patch worn on the jersey as well. And as far as the Jets are concerned, well, the Jets have seen a lot of turbulence. Let's go over to Rich Walsh, who has the latest on the Jets coming into this Sunday night matchup. Lots of changes, Rich.
Yeah, they're also turning back the clock with the quarterbacks. Tonight's game will feature 2 veteran quarterbacks who are both ticketed to wear gold jackets one day in Canton. One of those QBs will be making his first start in a new uniform, and the other will be trying to save the Jets' season. After Aaron Rodgers' injury last year, the Jets faithful couldn't wait for a full season of their veteran QB back under center. But this year's results have actually been slightly worse than their 7-win campaign of 2023. So far, they've won just 2 of 6 games, with both wins coming against 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. Things were so bad that they fired head coach Robert Saleh and replaced him with defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. While Rodgers' play is certainly not the main reason why they've struggled, he has thrown 5 interceptions, and all 5 came in games they lost. The most recent pick closed their last game, but it opened the Davante Adams era in New York, as the Jets quickly agreed to a trade with the Raiders the very next day. Even with a limited understanding of their offense, Adams' presence will certainly be a challenge for the Steelers' DBs tonight. But the Jets' offensive line has struggled to keep Rodgers upright. They've allowed the 10th most sacks in the NFL, which is not great for an older quarterback coming off a major injury. On defense, they rank in the top 10 in both points allowed and total yards allowed, and have generally done enough to keep them in games. Cornerback Sauce Gardner is one of the best cover men in the league. He's expected to follow George Pickens all night, so the Steelers will likely have to utilize other weapons in the passing game. All right, as we see in our South College game plan, the Steelers' game plan might be to give extra attention to the Jets' new receiver. In 4 games, career games against the Steelers, Davante Adams was targeted 48 times and put up pretty big numbers with over 80 yards per game and 3 touchdowns. Now the Jets are getting one of their key pieces back, pass rusher Hassan Reddick, but the good thing for the Steelers, he won't be back until tomorrow. Reddick was holding out but reached an agreement on an adjusted contract today. Guys?
Yeah, that's big. All right, thanks very much, Rich. And now let's look at the Jets' offense. It's clear what they like to do here, Charlie. They've been much better in the air than in the run game, and it shows when you take a look at the stats. And with the addition of Davante Adams, you would think that this will only increase. So, Charlie, does a defensive coordinator see these stats and focus more on stopping the pass, or you start with Breece Hall, who's very dynamic in the run game?
Yeah, you have to start with that passing game, because what the Jets do, they pass to set up the run. And the moment that you remove a defender from the box, that's when they're going to start running the football. So defensive coordinator Terrell Austin is going to have to mix it up the best that he could possibly do in this game here tonight.
Well, the one sure way that the Jets passing offense to to stop is to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and that'll surely be the thing, and it's certainly helped by getting Alex Highsmith back on the field tonight. How much does he mean to this specifically run and then edge passing defense?
Yeah, this is big to get him back. You lost Nick Herbert, who was the third rusher as they were rotating in, but Highsmith brings that dynamic, the speed, the power of holding down his edge on that defensive front. So it's good to get him back. They have to give these fans an opportunity and a reason to now raise that level throughout the game to make it difficult for Aaron Rodgers. And if they can do that, that means the split-second delay on that offensive line gives the advantage to the Steelers pass rush.
It's going to be a fascinating game tonight, but right now we're going to send the program to New York City. James Brown is standing by with a look at what's coming up today on the NFL Today CBS. JB, what's up?
Hey, Bob, up next on the NFL Today, Nick Chubb returns to the field when the Browns host Joe Burrow and the Bengals. We'll preview that one, and we'll dive into the Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers reunion in New York. Later, Packer stars Jair Alexander and Xavier McKinney sit down for a player conversation. Then the guys decide if the NFC North is really the best division in football. But first, Coach Cowher's guys, Bob and Charlie, return when Steelers Kickoff continues right here.
Steelers Kickoff is presented by Ford. The Ford F-150 is the official truck of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the best-selling truck in Pittsburgh.
Welcome back to the program, everyone. One of the most impressive performances in last week's win over the Raiders came from Naji Harris, who had his best game of the season, maybe the best game of his career so far. You know, Harris ran extremely hard all night, breaking tackles, moving piles, even broke a long touchdown run of 36 yards that essentially sealed the win. Charlie, how much does his rushing success equate to wins and losses for the Steelers moving forward?
Yeah, it's big because with him, it sets up the play-action game if you can get him going. But when you watch Naji in this game, this just lets you know what he can do as the featured back and not have to split carries. But unfortunately, it didn't happen because Jaylen Warren is still coming back off an injury. He should be more ready here today. But Naji is going to be a guy that's going to continue to feed because we know he is fighting for a contract. He wants to prove that he is a franchise back, and he is off to a good start.
All right, Naji Harris's efforts led to a rare blowout win for the Steelers. Over the past 4+ seasons, they've only had 5 wins. Think about that, over 14 points. So we're wondering how they fared the week after those blowout wins. And here's your evidence. As it turns out, they've done very well. They're 4-0 coming off a blowout win since 2020, with 2 of those wins coming against the Ravens in big games. So, Charlie, is that a testament to just momentum or Mike Tomlin not letting this team rest on its laurels?
No, that's Mike Tomlin all the way. He is the leader, commander of this team. And one thing he always stresses, hey, it's not about what you did last week. How can you follow up? Here's a big game for the Steelers, and not only this week on Sunday night, again the following week on Monday night. So there's a huge 2-game opportunity here for the Steelers.
So we're all going to be busy tonight at the game, but Charlie, you have a big event coming up for the Best of the Batch Foundation, November the 14th. It's always a big deal.
Yes, it is. Our 15th annual In the Pocket event. We are pool, poker, ping pong, and we are celebrating Best of the Batch Foundation. It's 25 years of our foundation. So pool, poker, ping pong, opportunity for you to help with our STEAM programs and our after-school programs. So information is right there. You can go to batchfoundation.org. You can find out all the ways that you can be a part of. So I just wanted to say thank you for everybody who believe in Best of the Batch Foundation. Latasha and I thank you for that.
Years of doing it day in and day out. Congratulations on the success. He's changing the lives of a lot of young people. So congrats to Charlie and Latasha. Hey, we're almost out of time here on Steelers Kickoff. The crew has their picks coming up next night. The Steelers and the Jets. Don't go away. We're back in the flash.
Welcome back to BetMGM Steelers Kickoff.
Well, it's about that time. Time for predictions. Rich Walsh, you're first.
Well, I have a good feeling about this game. I watched Russell Wilson in practice all week. I thought he looked good. I think he's going to bring the energy, especially to that passing attack. I like the Steelers to win this game 27-26 behind the arm of Russell Wilson.
Well, fellas, I think there's going to be a certain amount of rust that Russ Wilson has to knock off. Played only 6 series in the preseason. Aaron Rodgers is getting better every week. He has another tool in his kit with Davante Adams. He's thrown 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in 3 games against the Steelers. I like the Jets in this one, 24-23.
It's the first time we've differed all year, guys.
All right, Charlie, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm like Jerry right now. I think the rust is going to be too much early on for Russell Wilson, but I do think he gets them back into the game late, but I just think the Steelers fall short in this one. They lose today here to the Jets, 31-23.
And I concur. I think the Jets, they know that they're desperate. They're 2-4. They can't afford another one. I think Davante Adams' presence will open things up for Garrett Wilson, and don't forget about Breece Hall. So I think it's going to be a tough game, close game, 21-18 Jets. All right. What's coming up today on KDKA? We have the NFL Today on CBS. That's next, followed by Bengals, Browns, two more desperate teams. Nick Chubb is back for Cleveland. And then tonight we'll wrap it all up with a live edition of the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. So after the game, Rich, Chris Muller, and I will kick it around, make the switch to the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. That's going to do it for Jerry, for Rich, for Charlie. I'm Bob Pompeani. Have a great Steelers Sunday. Enjoy the day and enjoy the game tonight at Acrisure.